Hello. Welcome to Juhl Media. My name is Ching Juhl. I have been hosting this live interview since pandemic, and so far I had the privilege to talk to more than 300 guests. They are artists, they are filmmakers, musicians, politicians, entrepreneur, family members, teachers, you name it. So today I have my very, very special guest who I saw her performance in New York City. And let's welcome sorry, Kanami Kusajima, my dance friend. Hello, how are you? Kanami, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you for having me. Thank you
Of
so much.
course, of course. Yeah, thank you so much for being my guest. Now, let's go into the core of our discussion. And I was introduced by a filmmaker friend of mine. He's from Britain. His name is Cassius Reiner. Do you remember him? Cassius Reiner, who saw you perform at Washington State Park, and then he
Mhm,
took some shots. And next thing
mhm.
I knew is he told me about you, and then I came to your concert.
Oh yeah, I remember you came to my performance in Williamsburg, and I think we talked in person for the first time at that on
Yeah,
that
that was
day.
August this year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your background. Were you always a dancer, or you did something else and you became a dancer? Tell us a little bit about how your training was and how you became a dancer.
So I started dancing when I was like 6 years old in Japan. And at that time, I had many other things I was doing. Like I was going to swimming schools, I was playing piano a little bit. I was doing how it's called baton twirling, like kind of throwing out the sticks, and I was doing many different things. But I quit all of those, and dance was the only thing remained until today. And I'm 27 right now, so I've been dancing pretty much, most of my entire life, about 21 years by now. So I started dancing in this really small local dance studio in Japan, and I was also a competition dancer back there, and I was practicing about 4 days a week since I was a child. And as I grew up, I started to think about, I want to be a professional dancer for the future, like because when you are in middle school, high school, like teachers start to ask you to think about your future, right? Like, start think about what you want to become in the future, think about your career. And then the only thing I could think was like being a dancer, and I decided to study abroad. So that made me come to New York in 2016, and I studied dance for 4 years in SUNY Purchase College. And I graduated in pandemic year 2020 because I came 2016 and I studied for 4 years, right? And pandemic was one of the reasons why I started performing on the street, and particularly in Washington Square Park most of the time. And I met so many people, like your filmmaker friend and many other photographer friends and artist friends and all of those people. And I just started to love the community around Washington Square Park. And I just decided to continue performing there, even though it's not the highest peak of COVID anymore. We are not going through lockdown and all that. But I just genuinely love the community and people around the park.
So
And that's
your
what I've been.
style, in terms of your style, I've seen you dance, and I see lots of your videos, and also the improvisation dance. I saw you in Williamsburg. Um, have you gone through different styles? have you gone through like you did like a classical dance or more, right now looks, what I see is you're very innovative. You're in the concert you did in Williamsburg is you encourage people to write down the music they want to hear, they want
Mhm.
to you to dance with. And so totally for you, the music maybe is the first time you heard that music, and then you just improvise in front of us. It was really powerful and really creative and very provocative, so tell us a little bit of your style transformation.
All right. So when I was in Japan at first, I started with this, kids dance class, uh, more closer to hip hop, I would say, like I kind of like downbeat, upbeat, and box steps. And then I had to move to another city in Japan, and I started to practice modern dance, contemporary dance, uh, in the studio in Japan. And in college in New York, I did different like classical techniques, like ballet training, and there are different modern dance techniques like Graham technique, Cunningham technique, Lemon technique, and like there are many methods like that. And I think I started to improvise dancing when I was in high school, and then I also continued doing it in college as well. And whenever I improvise today, I feel like the movement uh, coming up from my body is just mix of everything I've learned in the past. So depending on what kind of music I'm hearing, or depending on the mood I'm having on the day, like movement really changes. Sometimes it might be more kind of classical looking or street style looking, or it might be a little bit more jazz, or I don't know. But like it kind of feels like I change the gear depending on what I feel when I'm improvising. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I have a few clips of your dancing. Let's play. Which one should we do it? You have Act for Neon Circus, and then the performance in the Port Authority, and then the other one is, I think, in the park. Which one should we play first, dear?
Maybe the park. It's
The
the
park?
main thing I do. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay. Is that the park? Let me see. January 31st. Okay, let's see, because I don't have enough information on the link. Oh, yeah. Can you see it now, dear?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let me make it bigger. Here we go. So tell us just a very short, what are we looking at right now?
So this is me dancing in Washington Square Park, and as I said, this is the main thing I do in the past 4 years, and that is my most favorite place to
Mhm.
dance. And yeah, you'll see a lot of birds flying, and yeah, those are the birds. Yeah, I also paint while I'm dancing.
Beautiful, nice. Yeah. So, tell us a little bit more about this. Looks like a quite cold weather.
It was a very cold day, and as maybe you saw in the background, many people are wearing, knit hat and a lot of jackets, and like
Yeah,
they layered up,
yeah,
and I'm dancing in bare feet. So
yeah.
people sometimes like asking like, aren't you feeling cold? And I'm usually very warm because I keep moving and dancing, and sometimes I even sweat in those cold weathers. And people don't believe it, but as long as I keep moving, I'm usually staying really warm. And I do also, wear some layers, of course. But whenever I paint, especially, I feel like I really want to dance in the bare feet, and then I really like the sense of like grabbing the ground with my foot. So I also, another reason is when it's really really cold out there, sometimes the ink I use it gets frozen when it's like maybe twice
Your
in the
hair
past.
get frozen.
Maybe twice in the past, I literally painted with a sherbet black ink because it was half frozen.
Uh-huh.
So in that condition, if I wear socks, ink gets in the socks, and the socks gets frozen because of the wet ink.
Yeah,
So bare feet is better than like frozen socks.
yeah,
And that's another reason most of the time why I stay with the barefoot.
yeah. So
But yeah.
tell us a little bit about what's the painting relationship. Uh, are you a painter, or you just started to paint with your dancing? Tell us a little bit.
So until COVID hit New York City, I was only trained as a dancer. I never thought about painting and doing the gallery shows, which I do right now. Um, But when I started performing in Washington Square Park, I met another street artist, and he's also a Japanese artist. And he was in New York for 4 years and doing the live painting in Washington Square Park. And when I found him, I was really interested in what he was doing, and his painting like performances were beautiful. And I asked him, like, right now it's COVID, and, I didn't have anything to do. I mean, I was practicing and dancing in my apartment, but I really felt at that time that I really need to see real humans, not dancing toward like blank walls and empty couches. And I really wanted to perform in front of like real humans. And when I saw him, I was really inspired by him. And I asked him, like, can I join you? Like maybe we can perform together and we can collaborate. And he was really welcoming, kind person. And he's like, yeah, of course, whenever you want to come, we can perform together. And I started to come to join him from right next day, and we were performing together for a while, probably about a month and a half. And then in November 2020,
Excuse me, dear. How do you perform together? Tell us when you say perform together.
um, it's nothing too complicated, but when he was doing the live painting with the black ink,
Yeah.
it's calligraphy ink, and I was just dancing around him.
Okay.
So he's also very like he has his own aesthetic of like very mysterious and slow movement while he's doing the live painting, and he wears this white fox mask. And then he's a very interesting person as well. And
What's
then
his name? May I? What's his name? What?
his artist name is Pinocchio. He goes by Pinocchio, like the long nose Pinocchio. Yeah. And like there are still many local people around the park who remember his performance because he was also a very unique performer. And yeah, So that's also another reason why I started to let my hair down. And that was originally to hide my face because he hides his face with the fox mask. And when I performed with him, I wanted to match up the aesthetic of the performance with him. So I just let my hair down and hide my face, and he's wearing a mask. So in that way, we are somehow together in one performance. And then he had to go back to Japan in November 2020, and he's the one really encouraged me to combine both live painting and dancing. So I was very nervous when I started to paint, and I'm like, I don't know even how, like, I don't even know which paper to buy. I don't know how to tape down the paper on the ground. But I learned a lot of things from Pinocchio, and I eventually um, did both painting and dancing by myself at the end of November. So it's about exactly 4 years ago from today where I started to do both painting and dancing at the same time around November 2020. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Um, I was just thinking logistically, when when do you so when you paint with your hair, right? And you paint with your hair, and then you paint is it paper or cotton or fabric?
No, no. It's I usually paint with hands and feet. I
Okay.
usually don't use my hair like
Okay.
that, but it's drawing paper,
Oh,
and again, I asked everything Pinocchio, like, okay,
yeah.
which paper were you using in the
Yeah.
park? And he told me everything. Okay, go to this art material store, go downstairs,
Yeah.
find this roll of paper.
But it can
So,
be expensive, right? If you do the show every week, how averagely how many shows you do? How many times you go to perform?
it shifted over the time.
Okay.
So when I just started, maybe the first 1 year and a half, I was there full time, 6 days a week.
Oh
So
my
literally
God.
every day.
Wow.
Because even Broadway was closed and none of the theaters were open. There were no places for dancers to perform in live. So I was there 6 days a week. And right now, the restrictions are not as strict as like 2, 3 years ago. So I'm more like half and half. Half of the time I perform in other venues like the one you came in Williamsburg. Sometimes I do art gallery shows. So whenever I can, I still come to the park, probably about like 3, 4 times a week, more or less, depending on what I have outside of the park.
So when you go, I'm just thinking the production point of view, and when you go with a big piece of paper and you go there, and I don't know where if you live far away, but then when you perform, then you had all the inks, and your hair gets all ink. So
Mhm.
can you tell us a little bit about like how do you close the show? How do you go back to your apartment? How do you not when you walk make everywhere black ink?
Well, I mean, so the ink I use is actually it dries pretty quick. I have painting actually right here, and it's a calligraphy ink, and it's called sumi ink, and it's a Japanese calligraphy ink made out of soot. Like when you have a burnt wood, it's really like a charcoal, and it has really like a black powder almost, and then the ink is made out of that. So like after 3 hours, 4 hours of performance, usually ink is completely dry. So I just go home as I am, like sometimes my face is painted, my hands are still painted, but I just go home in that condition anyway. And then as long as I get a warm shower, like with hot water, it comes out pretty easily. It's not that difficult. to wash off, except the nails. The When ink goes into the nails, it's very difficult to wash off. So right now I'm still like, I don't know if you have it. But as long as it's on the skin surface, it washes off pretty easily. So yeah.
Thank you. Now tell us a little bit about. I saw you're very active on Instagram, and I saw Instagram you posted on November 18th. Police came, and you have been driven away by police countlessly. So tell us a little bit about why would they come to bother you? Are you breaking the law? Or if you do, what's the consequence?
Well, it's very, complicated because, for example, first thing, so people say, oh, it's like police officers, cops, and then like there are two different departments who enforce the park rules, and the main one is called PEP officers, Parks Enforcement Patrol Officers, and they are not from NYPD. They are from New York City Parks Department, which is a different department from NYPD, right? And then sometimes they work together. So I have confronted with both of them, the Parks Department officers and NYPD officers. But for the November 18th this year, at first I was spoken by, I think, three Parks Department officers, and they told me that, hey, I know you're performing, and I know you're often in this park, and the spot I was dancing in, it was in a fountain circle. So in the center of Washington Square Park, there's one big circle-shaped fountain monument, and they told me that I was too close to the fountain, and because of the distance rule in the park rules, I had to relocate myself. And here's the thing, so that's what they claimed, but those distance rules from, like, yes, there are some distance rules, and it says like 50 feet away from the fountain. I forgot how much feet, but like 12 feet away from park furniture, benches, and there are all those little distance rules, but all those rules only apply for expressive mother vendors with a table. And I am apparently not one of those people. Like, yes, I am expressing myself, I am a performer, but I am not bending anything. I am not having a table. I am just dancing in a little area in the park. So I even pulled up all the park rules talking about the distance thing, and I showed them, hey, this is what it says. I don't have table. I'm not bending anything. So distance rules don't apply for me. It might apply for other people, but like you are looking at the wrong section. I don't know. And then even though I tried to explain all of that, they really didn't admit that it doesn't apply for me. So when I was trying to, make an agreement with them, like about the interpretation of the park rules, people started to get gathered, and because on November 18th, I was lucky enough to have many local friends. There are many familiar faces after performing there for 4 years. I know many friends in the park area. So they started to gather and started to shout, like, let her dance, she's not bending. And they really came to defend me. And the crowd became bigger. And my guess is the parks department officers got scared of amount of people surrounding me, and they called NYPD officers for that reason. And then the scene looked a little crazier than it was supposed to be. It was just only supposed to be about me trying to have an understanding with the distance rule with those officers, but it just became bigger and bigger. And you saw the videos of that day. So yeah, that's what was happening.
So, and then I attended a community meeting. Was it on Wednesday night?
That was on Wednesday.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
so tell me a little bit about that. Did are you satisfied with the meeting with all the people, either supporters or people are concerned about noise and stuff? Some residents, they are very itchy about. They certainly they don't support art. Looks like, and they like complain about people play boombox too loud. But I assume your music's not that loud compared to other music, right?
So, you know, it's not just about this year, November 18th. As I mentioned, I've been dealing with those officers from both park department and NYPD officers for the past 4 years all the time. And depending on the season, they come more to me, and some other seasons, they don't come to me at all. So it's been very capricious and it's not consistent. But I've been having different conversations with police officers. I tried to have a conversation with parks department officers, but they usually don't respond whenever me or other fellow artists, like, we try to reach out to them, but so far we haven't been able to have any good conversations with them. But we do meet many other people, such as community board too, which you came on Wednesday. um, so basically, I think, so your first question was like, I was satisfied or not, and then yes and no, because I already knew from the past experience that uh, just one meeting will not change anything. It will take certain time. It's been already 4 years to, like, us trying to make it better and negotiate with different departments, and that's not gonna happen over one night. So I already knew that, so I didn't expect too much for that community meeting. So I am satisfied in terms of our voices being heard. At least we had a chance to speak about the issue, and because some meetings we don't have even have a chance to speak about what we are going through, and sometimes we just listen to other people from different backgrounds. And at least on that community meeting, we were able to speak, and we at least tried to communicate with the police officers and people from the local area. And I am not satisfied because, of course, nothing actually changed yet. And again, it will take many more months, most likely many more years. So until actual changes are made, I'm not gonna be satisfied with that. But I also knew that that was not gonna happen in just one meeting. So that's my feeling about that. And for the sound amplification and all that, that's sometimes the reason in the past why parks department officers and police officers come to shut me down. Um, but I think like, not just me, but all performers and artists in the park, we are all trying to build the, like, right understanding. What we are asking is not to allow blasting music until 2 a.m. Like, that's what we don't want that as well. Like, we are not asking residents around the park to allow the boombox sound 24/7, and we are not asking them to allow the illegal drug dealings. Like, we also want peace in the park. Artists also want safety in the park, and artists also want joy in the park. And I believe all those things are something residents want as well. So we have something common. What we want is essentially the same: peaceful, safe, joyful park, right? So I think we need to take certain time to explain and make them understand that point because, hey, what we are suggesting in the petition, for example, is not just allowing any kind of sound, but like, what about we respect the neighbors by limiting the volume by 80 decibels? And, you know, we are not suggesting this randomly. Like we went through the WHO noise level standard and then, okay, doorbell is about 80 decibels and shouted conversation is 90 decibels. So what we are suggesting is lower volume than the shouted conversations volume. So we are trying to be also very reasonable. So what I'm hoping with all those sound or distance or anything we're trying is just to find a middle ground, not just pushing our agenda to other people. So again, I understand it takes certain time, but I'm pretty sure eventually that will happen. Maybe I'm too optimistic, but that's what I hope. And yeah, and I'm trying to do everything I can do for that.
Would you like to make a few movement for us? I know you're in your apartment right now. Just
Okay.
show us a little bit. Yeah. So you may want to reset, right? A little bit, like turn around your computer. Yeah.
Let's
No? Okay.
see.
I'm just going to take you. Yeah. I can
I
just.
think I can move a little bit
Oh,
here.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. All right. So tell us, I guess you are. Wait, these days, do you like make a piece is choreographed, or you prefer doing mostly improv?
I mean, I do both, but even the choreography piece I make, depending on the work, but some pieces are more set, you know, every movement is kind of decided.
Mm.
But some other pieces I create is like kind of like half-boiled egg almost. Like some parts are decided, but some other part has a little more freedom to
Mm.
improvise.
Mm.
So some pieces are more like half and half, and some pieces like I set more details.
Yeah.
So yeah, depending on the work, but
And
I do both.
another question before you move is that do you have the music first, then you do choreographer, or you do your dance movement first, then you find the music?
Interesting question. Usually I play music first, I think. I love interpreting the music in my movement a lot. So, but another time for example, some pieces I don't use music, right? Like I move in silence. Then it's more about what's coming from inside of my body. But whenever I use music, I think I play it first and then I interpret the way I hear it. I think, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, take over.
Great. Um, do you want me to move in
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
anything, or do
No,
you
I want
want?
you to just have some movement for us, please.
Okay. Do you want some music or
Sure, whatever you want. How about music? Maybe we should use music, huh? Yeah.
no
Or silent.
music?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I prefer.
All
Yeah.
right. Sure. Let me see.
I didn't, I didn't hear music though. There was no music.
I thought you requested without the music.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, no, no. I said music, but that's okay, dear. Should we also show? I also want to show. That was very nice. Thank you, dear. Let's see. We have two more excerpts. Here we go. Let's see. So tell us this a little bit about your Import Authority bus terminal.
Oh, so yeah, this was actually a great opportunity for me where I was able to hang my painting works in the space, and most of the paintings are from Washington Square Park. And I am dancing in the space where my paintings are hanging. Some of them hanging from the ceiling, and some of them on the wall. And my favorite is this one painting with a big hole. You will see in the video. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's a painting in the center, and it also has a hole. And that painting was from a snowing day, and this window piece with the big circle, it's from a rainy day. So when I was dancing on those paintings, I just kept dancing in the snow or rain, and paper gets really wet. And because I keep stumbling on it, the paper slowly starts to rip, and it creates a hole in the center. And I really liked it when I hung it from the ceiling. It kind of like it's a nice window to play around with, and I just decided to bring in the space.
Yeah, it's a different dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Yeah, this is a nice big space. What do you mean by Port Authority bus station? I mean, this is in a room, right?
So there's a bus terminal in Port Authority, right? And then there's a hallway area where all the commuters are, kind of walking to catch a bus or anything.
Yeah.
And I worked with a organization called Chashama, and Chashama has this performance space in the Port Authority bus terminal. And this space is facing the hallway where the commuters are walking around. And there's a shutter to open. So there's a room. And if we open the shutter, all the commuters can see the performance I was doing over there. And
Wow.
I was dancing towards those commuters in the bus terminal.
Wow, this is so awesome. So awesome. And let's see, we have our friend audience with us. And Shark FinTech says, let's see, let me bring his, is public, wait, how to say,
Interpretive dancing
permitted
permitted
and,
in Japan.
and has Kanami ever done it?
Actually, I've done the same performance in Japan as well. I did one time in Ueno Park in Tokyo, and another time Yamashita Park in Yokohama City. Another time I did in front of the Sakuragicho train station. And I also did once or twice, I think once in Osaka. And permitted in Japan or not, I would say, I don't know. I think it's depending on the park, depending on the city. But I remember Ueno Park, nobody bothered me. No officers whatsoever. Yamashita Park, same thing. Nobody came to stop me, or nobody told me, hey, this is not allowed or anything like that. Sakuragicho station was, so when I tried to prepare for the performance, even before I put down any paper, I just put down my backpack and opened the backpack, and there was already a security guard and like, hey, what are you doing? It was so quick, and I was like, hello, I'm temporarily visiting Japan from New York, and this is what I'm trying to do. And he seemed very unhappy about it, like, oh, you shouldn't do that or something. And then, oh yeah, I didn't know. Okay, so if I need a permit, where to go? And I asked all the, genuine questions about like where to go to. Is that like a police station or something to get a permit? And then he was like, you know what? If it's only today, you can just do it. He was very nice. So I was like, okay, thank you. But if I was about to do it for like, every day, I think I need to go through a different process. But at first he looked kind of grumpy and scary, but he was actually, you know what? If that's only today, you can do it. So I'm like, okay, thank you
it's
very much.
very hard to say no to you, you know. I mean, it's interesting, the way you dance is very dynamic and very executed and very what do I say? Like, like you don't take shit, but when you talk, you're so nice. When you talk to people, you're just gentle, It's like very interesting. Your art and your personality sort of in a very nice mixed, right? Um
Thank you so much. Well, I guess I needed to negotiate with people,
yeah,
Um,
it's a nice
no,
negotiation.
yeah, but I do always have a respect for whatever the public space I perform in, like same thing for Washington Square Park, as I said, like especially on November 18th, it was very clear that so many local people support me and defend me, and like, yes, and some other people, like the ones in the community meeting, some people don't even see me or they don't know me and they kind of misunderstand that, oh, maybe she's blasting the loudest music and bothering us, which is not true. Um, but what I'm saying is, I do respect what, people think, who's surrounding that public park. And then I keep performing in the park only because I feel appreciated the most in Washington Square Park. And I do talk to local people, and then like most of them really give me really nice comments and very kind words, and like, please come back, I'm always happy to see you. And I really appreciate those genuine connections with people. And if they tell me, like, if all of them tell me that, like, hey, we don't want you here, like in the community, and then all respect, I hear them. But what I what I hear from them is opposite from that, and like, please come back. I want to see you. I always enjoy seeing you all the time. So it's all about understanding each other and how to coexist, especially when it comes to public space. Different people need to coexist. Uh, if if we agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. Sometimes we need to be in the same place. So like, that's what I've been always thinking about as a street performer.
So it's interesting, I live in the Upper West Side, and but whenever I get bored or I get stir crazy in the city, the first place I want to go is Washington Square Park. Now that
Mhm.
doesn't mean I go there that often, but that means whenever I want to go. So I went there a couple of, I haven't seen you when the time I went, I did not meet you. I met yeah, some other artists, group dancers. I met one guy, he was painting people's portrait, and he was doing it for free. Is it for free? But anyway, I forgot. But anyway, and then I actually made a short documentary about him. Yeah, so at
Mhm.
the Washington Square. So now tell us, do you have a fixed time to go there? Like, if people want to find you, how do they know your schedule?
So yeah, many people ask me that, and I appreciate that they are wanting to see me, but it's very very difficult to set a solid time schedule because I need to adjust around the weather condition. I need to adjust around the even the seasons because right now it's winter season and sun goes down very quick. So I usually come around the sunset time, but sunset time is very different from the summertime sunset. So right now I'm trying to come around maybe 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And I might stay longer if I feel like it. But by 5 p.m., it's pitch dark out there. So that's winter time. And
Are you talking
uh,
about weekend, dear? Like when say 1 to 5, are you talking about Saturday or Sunday
um,
or any day?
any day available. Sometimes I have event performances, mainly on weekends, for example. So if I have something else, I cannot come. But if I'm free, I happily come. Like yesterday, I was in the park. So I do that still. Um, and then summertime, if I come too early, like 1 p.m., the sun is too harsh and it's very hot. And during the summertime, I sometimes finish like 3 liters of water very easily because I need to keep hydrate myself. I come usually later time, probably 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then at 8 p.m., the sky is still bright, during the summertime. So it's very difficult to set a solid time, but I'm just adjusting around.
And your brand is called Let Hair Down, and it's very interesting. And you can find, I mean, you meaning audience, you guys can find her on Instagram. So tell us a little bit how this name came from, and is it started 4 years ago or slowly evolved?
So yeah, as I mentioned, when I was performing with, Pinocchio with the mysterious fox mask guy, um, I started to let my hair down. And after Pinocchio left, I think my friend suggested me, and like, you should keep your hair down because that's how local people remember you when you were performing with Pinocchio. So I was like, yeah, okay, sure. I like, freeing my hair rather than tying up tightly. So I like it anyway. So let's keep that. And when I thought about a handle as a street performer, I just named it very literal, like let hair down. And I think later I thought about the name let hair down. I found out that English has this idiom. If I say to you, let your hair down, it means like relax, sit back, take it easy. It has different meaning in English. And I didn't know that, honestly, but when I learned about it, I loved it even more because, yeah, I want people to take it easy and maybe sit back on the bench in the park and enjoy my performance.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I just decided to keep the name in its way, and it's been for 4 years by now. So, yeah.
that's wonderful. Now, you are a performer and you perform in different venues, and do you have any what do you call desire or plan, say join a dance ensemble, perform, I don't know, classical, modern, or whatever style it is, or you prefer just by yourself like the way you are?
Um, I would say if there's any opportunity to be a part of a dance company or a dance project or anything like that, I'm open to it. Like I'm not gonna say no if I'm also interested in. And then I have joined a couple of dance projects in the past, like not the company, but I've also danced and somebody else choreography piece and somebody else dance project. So as long as I'm genuinely interested in those projects, I also enjoy doing it. Um, but I really wanna keep this street performance uh, project. I don't know. It's not project, but like it's almost like a lifestyle by now.
Mm.
Um, so I want to keep doing this, and then I imagine if I joined a full-time dance company, for example, it's a wonderful thing. It's a great opportunity, maybe, but I think I wouldn't be able to come to the park like I do right now. So as of now, rather than that, I think I want to still have a certain time to keep coming to the park and perform on the street.
Mhm. It's
So
called your brand is called I Dance for You. It should be I Dance for You and I dance for myself. No, no, it's in the good way.
yeah,
It's in a good way. You know.
no, but that's exactly the thing. I think the I dance for you, especially that's the feeling I felt during the COVID time, because people were really having a hard time together and just the entire city was depressing, frankly. And we were having different difficulties. Some people were in a maybe, like maybe people lost a loved ones, people were financially in a difficult situation, or some people lost jobs, house, anything. And I just really wanted to encourage people through my dance, and that idea of I dance for you stays the same until today. But as you say, I think I dance for you, and that you includes myself as well. It also heals me and helps me to, stay in the way who I am.
Mhm.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. And Shock Fintech said, beautiful dancing at the Port Authority. It is like watching fluid motion with the Jackson Pollock type painting as a background. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, what do you do in the park when you paint? The do you like sell the piece to your audience?
Sometimes I do. I'm not gonna go around the park to, like the sales it, but sometimes people message me and or email me and like, hey, I'm interested in purchasing the painting, and usually they specify the date because, for example, there's one lady from London and she was visiting New York City and she happened to find me in Washington Square Park. So she messaged me, hey, I saw you on December this day, this year. And do you still have the painting from that day? And I searched around. I can actually show you
Yeah,
part
show
of
me.
my, it just, there's so many.
Uh-huh.
It's like,
Oh, oh my God. Wow.
This is not even all of them. I think I have more than 350, 60 paintings by now. And most of the paintings are in a storage. So I need to kind of search sometimes to find a particular painting.
Uh,
And then I shipped that painting to London. And sometimes I ship to other places, one in Austria, one in Japan actually, and also other states in America like Seattle, California, Florida, and of course some people from New York. And yeah, so I do sometimes sell paintings. Sometimes I do art gallery shows, so I
when
exhibit my pieces.
when is your next show? When is your next show you want to share with us of performance or show?
Good question. I mean, So the performance show, the next one I have is on December 14th. Actually, that's gonna be in Williamsburg again. I will take song requests from people and
The same
improvise
space, same space.
same space.
Okay.
Mhm.
That space is, excuse me, dear. That space is lovely. It's
Yeah, it's
yeah, it's
really
very
beautiful.
artsy, right? It's a stage.
Hmm.
It's not too
Yeah.
small, and what
Mhm.
else? Sound system is good, and people can eat and
Mhm.
drink.
Yeah.
It's not a huge. Anyway, so you're
Yeah.
gonna do the same thing. What is it called? It's a very funny frog, something frog.
It's called Pink Frog Cafe.
Oh, yeah, Pink Frog Cafe. Right, 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 right.
Yeah,
Really
very
cool.
cute.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
So yeah, that's the performance I will have, and I'm not sure about the next gallery shows,
uh,
but yeah, I will keep posting if anything comes up.
yeah, yeah. Let us know. So, yeah, we're in almost an hour now. So, before you go, and I just want to chime in about this channel. This is Juhl Media. It's my I started in 2009, and so it's been a long journey, and I use it as my video sort of storage place, yeah, or a library. Now I have more than 1,100 videos I created, and including
Oh,
this conversation. This interview actually started also 4 years ago, March 20. Wait, 2020, yeah, 2020, yeah. So it's because it's the beginning of the pandemic, so I cannot see my family, I cannot see my friends, and I'm just locked in, doing nothing. And then I started to interview people, yeah, so it expanded to now. So I've been doing for a long time. And other thing is, I just want everybody, and including you, I don't know if you have time, but guys, watching my documentary, I made a 90-minute documentary. It's called My Yangon Diary, and the link is in the description. And I still very attached to the project, although it's, I'm moving on to the next project. But yeah, when you get a chance to watch it, it's about a grassroots movement. It's about people who supported a Democrat primary, what do you call, campaign. And yeah, it is not just a political thing. It's about my own personal journey, how I got involved, and the results. So it's on Amazon now, Amazon Prime. Yeah. Anyway, so I always do this. Last word, Konami. What is the last word before we go?
the last word.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know who's watching this right now, but if you never visited Washington Square Park, please visit at least once in your life. And it's a very unique place where you will never get bored. Always something interesting is happening, and you might like it, you might not like it, but just you will find something very interesting all the time. So yeah, I hope everybody at least visits the park once. So yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, because sometimes I like some place, I can't really articulate why. So Washington
Mhm.
Square Park is one of those things. I just like it. And now you said, yeah, it's like every time you go, it's different things happening in front of you, and of course, people
Mhm.
see you, they always see you. So to me, it's the space, it's the fountain, it's a big arch thing. What do you call that? The thing.
Yeah, the
Uh,
arch.
yeah,
Mhm.
and it's the grass, it's the benches, it's the
Mhm.
vendors, it's the artists, right? It's like everything. It's quite hard
Yeah,
to, yeah. But
literally.
yeah,
Yeah, it feels like mix of everything from all around the world. Like they are possibly the most rich people in the area living around there, and also they're, like people living on the street, and they're like fathers and mothers playing with their children, their NYU students, their business person, their artists, and people from all over the world, local people, old people, young people, tourists, everybody's there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I really like that sense of reality over
So if
there.
you ask about where is Washington Square, you can Google. But generally, it's a park. It covers it. Yeah, on the north side is 12th Street, 10th Street, something like that. 10th Street and Fifth Avenue, right?
I think so. And then also the West 4th Street Station,
Mm-hmm.
subway station.
Right,
You can also walk from Union Square, right?
right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I still want to play one thing before we go. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's something
Yeah.
different actually.
Awesome. 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 It reminds me a little bit like a mime,
Mm,
right? Is it
interesting.
a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think because of the neon ink, it glows in the dark.
Mhm.
The the hands are very emphasized, for
Mhm.
example, right? Like the shape of the hand is
Mhm.
very clear in the
Right.
dark, and also the feet and legs and all that. So like maybe it looks like a little pantomime more because like the hands are really emphasized, and like whenever I do certain shapes, it draws attention.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Beautiful. 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 Yeah. Beautiful setting. I love the music too. So we have a lot to talk about and maybe off camera because I want to talk to you about music, It's like
Mhm.
it must be constantly challenged to find right music to dance with, right? In a way.
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes, like whenever I create a piece, for example, I have a dance piece called Midori, and I created this dance piece uh, after being inspired by a book
I
written
saw that.
by,
Midori.
yeah, Haruki Murakami. So for that case, like I have a theme which I wanted to do first, and then I think about music later, like which
Mm,
song would fit for the
mm,
theme and all that. But sometimes I feel the music first, and then I gather other ideas after I decide the music. So it depends. But yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Kanami, for talking to me and talking to our audience. And yeah, people, if you haven't watched this, you can do the replay. Immediately, you can watch this replay on YouTube channel. So thank you, and I'll see
Thank
you in
you.
the park.
Yeah, sounds great. Anytime. Thank you
And
very much for having me.
are you going today?
I'm not sure. I might have other things like preparing for the show in December and all that. But yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll go next week. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Bye bye. And